A very big hello from Team Polkadot India and welcome to our second DotFriday, the DeFi chapter. It's fantastic to see you all here, and it's absolutely a fantastic lineup of events that we have planned for you over here. Now, before we start, let me tell you that it would be an absolute joy to have you all as a part of the Polkadot India community. So join us on WhatsApp, Telegram, or Discord, and don't miss following all the action on our Twitter page. So what is this powerful wild beast known as DeFi? And isn't all of crypto decentralized finance anyways? Well, sort of. The DeFi movement refers to a specific genre of financial products that champion decentralization above all else and use lucrative incentive mechanisms to encourage investors. Now, before we go deeper into the evening, let me give you our magnetic founder of Polkadot India, who has some big dreams lined up for all of us out here. Amit Singh, it's an absolute honor each time to introduce you, and it's great having you kickstart this evening of DeFi. So over to you to welcome the community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ananya. Sometimes you introduce me in a way that even I want to meet that guy. For everybody over here, a very warm welcome to you from Polkadot India. My name is Amit. I'm from the team. And let me just share a small little presentation to introduce Polkadot India to all of you all. Could we get the deck on, please? So Polkadot India is a community of crypto enthusiasts, aspiring crypto entrepreneurs, existing crypto entrepreneurs, people generally interested in the Polkadot ecosystem, either from an investment or a development perspective, and most importantly, of developers building on blockchain who are interested in Substrate and possibly building interoperable blockchains, leveraging the Polkadot chain in the future. So that is the primary motivation, or these are the people that we want to target within this entire community very well. So first and foremost, we are starting this community in an effort to get a lot of developers within India, a lot of people interested in the Polkadot ecosystem together. Now, they're different people. They're going to be, beginners who are yet starting with Substrate. Some of you would have a background into Solidity, want to build blockchains, which are interoperable and hence interested in this particular space. While many of you might be just crypto curious right now and looking at, hey, what is Polkadot from an investment perspective, etc. So we've got a different lineup of initiatives for each of these different segments of people that we will have in our community. And we've got two events, but this one called DotFriday, as well as another one called Substrate Saturday, which we are creating for you all right now. So the roadmap as we stand today is, building this community. Right now, there are a bunch of WhatsApp groups, Telegram group, a Discord group for developers that's already been created. Going forward in 2022, in December 2021, we have our first Substrate Saturday, which is a boot camp for Substrate developers that's lined up. Thereafter, we have a series of events planned wherein we would get many of India's developers onto Substrate and hopefully also get them internships or place them in projects that are building on Substrate worldwide. And every quarter or 4 months, depending upon the frequency that is workable and how ready the community is, we plan to do a hackathon wherein you can come up with your own ideas and we provide you the resources and structures to take that idea to life. Somewhere in the last quarter of 2022, we plan to assist many of you guys who have reached a particular level of maturity with, in the capacity of an incubator, connecting you with talent, probably investors from across the region. And in 2023, we will create a Lambda school kind of model for the very best of the developer community lot, taking over, the kind of spreading its wings around the entire Polkadot ecosystem worldwide. We've got big plans thereafter too. in about 3 years' time, we would create a DAO of ourselves. So I especially encourage all of you early members to be active on our Twitter and other forums, so that whenever this DAO gets created, we do remember who you are, when did you join, which cohorts were you guys from, and involve you in the bestest capacity possible. With that, I would like to call upon my colleague Varun to make an important announcement with regard to Substrate Saturday. And one more time, welcome all of you all. Our vision really is that India has the second largest concentration of developers. I think Polkadot and Substrate are fantastic technologies, and the right exposure at this juncture in this particular ecosystem might work wonders for many of you from the perspective of your careers as well. I'm talking specifically to developers over here, and maybe you'll go out, work for a number of decentralized projects in India and abroad in future. But after 4 or 5 years, all of these will become DAOs, and you'll probably look at building a next venture from home and inspire hundreds, maybe thousands of people to build decentralized projects like yourselves. With that, I would like to call upon my colleague Varun to make an announcement of something that we've been working very hard on, which is primarily targeted at the developer community. Over to you, Varun.
Thank you so much, Amit. And first of all, heartiest welcome to everybody on our session on DotFriday, which is purely on DeFi. And before we get into the overall development of different applications, I would just like to give a brief idea. Okay, so this particular event, which is Substrate Saturday, it will ideally start from 4th of December. That would be the first bootcamp and the kickoff event. And we are planning to keep it on a monthly basis where we would do proper hands-on sessions, starting in developing with Rust, so that anybody who can actually be at an intermediate level of doing Rust development would be able to pick up on Substrate much easily. So the roadmap would be shared with each and everybody by the end of next week. There would be announcements made on Discord, Telegram, and WhatsApp. The forms would be shared with each and everyone around over there, so that we can gauge that who all are the interested participants and where do you currently stand with Rust and Substrate. And if not, then we'll be able to plan the roadmap in that particular manner. All of the hands-on sessions would be done by the team at Wow Labs, including myself, which would be followed up with Q&A sessions open for discussions, and any interest on the next session to be taken, that could also be discussed in the Q&A sessions. So pretty excited to welcome all of you who either are the developers and who are not even developers, but just want to understand the entire mechanism of working with Substrate and Rust. So please join in. So that's it from my end.
Great. Thanks, Varun. It is a great and very exciting initiative, and we sure are looking forward to it. And the interest we are getting is great. So all of you are really great if you can show some interest and join us, because it's big time coming up for all of us out here in India. Right. So on that note, thanks, Varun. So over to you later when we start off with Substrate Saturday in December. So until then, so now getting on to this evening, before we start off, we have a lineup of very exciting speakers tonight. But how we get in touch with them is this. All of you have to get onto Twitter and tag us by #DotFriday and put in any kind of input or questions that you want to ask any of our speakers, or even otherwise, right? So that's #DotFriday, as you may see on the screen. Now, it gives me immense pleasure to give to you our first guest this DeFi evening. They are all over the crypto news worldwide, and especially since yesterday, things just got magnanimous for them. Yes, with over 32M contributed over by 81K community members, Acala has won the first parachain auction on Polkadot. And it's an absolute honor to ask you all to join me in congratulating the co-founder herself. A big, big, big wave out to you from all of us out here, Bette. And it's an absolutely phenomenal experience having you with us today, especially after such a big win. Guys, needless to introduce our first speaker, Bette Chen is the co-founder of Laminar and Acala. Acala is the cross-chain decentralized financial hub and stablecoin platform of Polkadot that makes it fast and easy to use or build any financial application, improving the trading efficiency and also saving time. The platform offers a suite of financial primitive as well as Ethereum compatible makers, and that makes Acala the landing partner of Ethereum dApps, right? So over to you, Beth. It's an absolute honor again to have you, and they're all yours.
Thanks very much for having me here. I'm actually calling in from New Zealand. It's almost 2 a.m. for me, and it is the crowd-long auction week, and I got the time wrong. So I thought it was Friday afternoon, but turned out to be a huge time zone differences there. But it doesn't matter. Glad to be here. Yeah. So today I actually have a presentation. I was asked to actually give a presentation. So So today's topic is about DeFi in the era of Internet of Blockchains. I think everyone is here in some level, probably used some DeFi protocols or DeFi applications in one shape or form. And then most of those applications actually happen on very similar blockchain architectures, regardless whether they are on Ethereum or other Ethereum compatible blockchains. What I want to kind of like share today is a little bit more on what the future will actually look like, which might not be exactly the same as what we are used to. I think DeFi only like started 2019. During those times, I was a user. Well, earlier that year, I was user of Compound, Maker, and it was very interesting back then. But see how fast people get used to things. It's only 2021 this year, so it's only 3 years. People would think that is the only way. That is the mode of success. It's only 3 years into using a particular application. So, but we are, compared to many of the technological innovation along the way, this is very early stage. So don't think what you see today is going to be the end goal, right? So hopefully today I can share some idea to open up some thoughts and also some build and innovation. So so I'll go through a bit of intro and then some context, and then go a little bit more into the Acala architecture and how we think about building the next gen DeFi platform, as well as empowering our ecosystem to do so. So about 3 years ago, we were a team of 4 co-founders. But back in 2018, we were already building on top of Substrate. And back then, we were probably the only external teams building and contributing to the Substrate repository, alongside with Parity and Gavin's team. I'll share a little bit more once I get to the technical slide, why that actually happened at such an early stage. Back then, it was Substrate v0. Some version. It was like hardly usable, but it was still we chose go down the hard path then. So 3 years on today. Someone raise a hand. Should I be worried? Maybe not.
No, please continue.
Yeah, we'll
okay.
take
You can prompt me if I need to stop and discuss a certain topic in the chat.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. So so myself, maybe just a backtrack a little bit for those who didn't know me too well. So I actually had a background in engineering, specialized in software. That was a long time ago. And I was a developer by trade. So engineering, software development, always is the main thing that I've been working on out of school. However, down the track, things do change, and then you do go to the dark side So myself went into product management down the track of my career. And then later on, I had my MBA, so gone even darker in my career. But it turns out to be very helpful when I met my co-founders, Brian, Rital, and others, as we have really complementary skills there. But with my engineering background, I can still understand what they are talking about and can still read Substrate code and are able to kind of collab at a very, very deep level. So that's how we kind of like how my background was before blockchain. So yeah, so fast forward today, we have over 30 more team members, still growing across 5 different continents and 10 cities. And so working very remotely, very decentralized team across, so myself in New Zealand, also have a core team in China, developer teams, and also have team members in US, Europe as well. So yeah, so I think this is truly a era of borderless development and kind of creation age. We are still relatively small because with all the stuff that we are doing, everyone is like super busy. So we are 90% still engineers, product designers, etc. And our sort of core strength, or what we pride ourselves, is the development power. So we were probably one of the top the development teams in a Substrate and Polkadot, and we actually believe, you know, we have to be excellent, like excel in technological innovation as well as in product sort of delivery, so that we can use the best tech and then deliver the vision like behind Acala. And then Acala is only just, you know, going to the doors of finance, because a few of us, when we got together, we actually are diehard decentralist. We believe everything is going to turn Web3 at some point, every single industry. But we just chose finance because we think finance would be the first to actually break the tipping point, be able to kind of like really disrupt, because you know, it has the all of the characteristics that it can suck up all the pain of innovation, and has also enough pain of its own industry to be willing to actually move forward. And then a few of us also had, you know, TradFi background, so it was like a no-brainer move for us to go into finance for us to build on Acala. Yeah, so I'll skip that one. So the vision for Acala is we set out to build the stablecoin of Web3. So if you think about Polkadot is the internet of blockchain, then we are building, well, not sure if I'm allowed to say that, I'm building the most lowest level of infrastructure, financial infrastructure for the Web3. And that is actually, if you think about the lowest level for the financial world, it's actually the Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank is a place that you can, in the very, very old days, that you can turn illiquid assets into paper form or liquid assets. So in the old days, it was like turning gold into notes that it can be circulating in the economy, and then it is able to have credit systems and to power, well, basically up until now, the world today. Of course, we're no longer tied to gold, but that's where everything started. So when you think about reconstruct the financial world, certainly there are a lot of innovation that could happen on top of it, but really the top-down approach couldn't actually change the fundamental thing. So that's the fintech movement, that it changes the UX, it brings a lot of much better experience for many of the users, but what it didn't touch or couldn't actually touch is the backend systems. So I think the Web3 movement, as well as the innovation that we're doing here at the decentralized finance area, especially what we are trying to build is at the lowest level to lay the ground so that you actually have a truly decentralized reserve bank to power the economy. So that's through the stable coin, right? Because that's literally how the Acala dollar mechanism is being made. But I'll go into a bit more detail then. But here are some numbers. I kind of like updated that for this talk. So up until today, I think we have over 800,000 community members around the world. Very proud of that. Hopefully we can also grow a community in India. I think India is a uprising place for blockchain, as well as obviously engineering power, development power. So hopefully we can also have some ambassadors over there and also engage with you guys to do a lot more interesting things together. And through the crowd loan, I think when we before the Acala crowd loan happened, we set internally a few goals ourselves. Winning the first lot is actually surprisingly not the priority. We've learned a few things through the Kusama launch for the Karura chain. The first and primary goal we want to achieve is distribution, because this is the single event. People probably didn't realize why GAF want us to do a lease loan approach, which seems very costly, seems very lots of overhead. But very early on, we recognized that this is the single best distribution event that you could ever have if you are launching a blockchain layer one like Acala. Number of reasons. Number one, folks who are supporting us are certainly long-term users. These are not your everyday you farmer who's going to stick around for 5 hours and then they move to the next farm, right? These are the folks who stake their crypto, stake their DOT for over 2 years, right? So this is long-term supporters. And then second thing, there's a wide reach. So this is a single biggest token distribution event that we have. We allocated 17% of all our token, which has a fixed supply, to all the participants. And then we only reserved 34% for rewards for the entire lifespan of Acala, which is perpetual. So 50% of those are used for the first auction, mostly because, if you want to be the first, then probably you're going to pay the higher price, but hopefully it's going to be worth it. And then it is turned out to be very, very much worth it, because on-chain direct contribution through Acala website, and there is over 81,000 direct contributors. So these are folks who we managed somehow to convert using Polkadot.js to contribute, not the most user-friendly wallets. So if you are engineer, front-end builders, or full stack developers, a better wallet experience will be really welcomed, and you will have a lot of support from all the teams in the Polkadot ecosystem. So Talisman is only one of the projects innovating in this space. So the space is still very empty. So if you're interested, and then so that doesn't count any other agencies that go through agencies that participate, so exchanges and things like that. So it's very easily to estimate. It's probably well over 100,000 account holders on launch for Acala, and for Karura we had about 20,000 for crowd loan participation, and then when it comes to on-chain account holders, it's 75,000 account holders when we went live. So right now I'm only counting crowd loan numbers. So it's going to be probably slightly higher when we launch. So that is certainly really high quality distribution. These are all actual users. They hold non-custodial wallet, which can interact with our application. And then we also have a growing ecosystem partners. These are folks who we collaborate with, build alongside with. This doesn't quite count folks who intend to permissionlessly deploy their smart contract on Acala, because you wouldn't be able to keep track of all of those. These are more partners who, for example, current.com or Compound, these type of partner that we kind of actually have to do custom development for them, and also will have a roadmap to be able to support their applications on Acala. Yeah, so that's still ongoing. And then another goal that we set for our crowd loan, in addition to distribution, is liquidity. From Kusama launch, we raised 3% for KSM supply for Karura. And for Acala launch, we also raised about 3%, 3.2%, so it's $32 million. But the Kusama raise, the Kusama crowd loan, actually didn't do anybody any good. It didn't help Kusama DeFi ecosystem, because those liquidity are locked, right? So when we do the Acala crowd loan, one of the top goal is to challenge ourselves to see how we can do better in terms of releasing some of those liquidity, hence the product of liquid crowd loan DOT. I won't go into details of those. If you're interested, can share some links that you can read it, but essentially it releases the locked DOT on the crowd loan, and that will be usable on Acala once we launch. And guess what? 80%, well, probably not exactly, but roughly 80% of all the contributions are in the form of LC DOT. So that's 24 million DOT and over $1 billion notional worth of liquidity on launch. I think that's pretty amazing. And we only had less than maybe 10 or 20% are folks coming from exchanges, which obviously from those centralized agencies wouldn't be able to participate in a liquid form. But I think this is a wild success in terms of distribution and also liquidity event. So with those two, I think we already won regardless the auction, because I think there's a luck in play for the auction. So I think Moonbeam has been doing really well, and also a few other teams that are likely to be launched in the first batch of the parachain. So actually the first batch has 5 teams, and they can all launch on the same day. So I think all of us are actually winners for Polkadot. But of course, the biggest winner is Gavin and his team. The way that Polkadot ecosystem work is you don't need one team to be the winner, right? If everyone doing really well, if Moonbeam is doing really well, and then if other teams are doing really, really well, and then we have this cross-chain communication, it's very important that if we can cross-transact, not just assets, but also other stuff, then we can actually really bring together this cross-chain use case, as well as liquidity sort of overflow the entire ecosystem. And ultimately, it will benefit all the DOT holders and also the DOT ecosystem participants as a whole. So that's always our mentality as to kind of do it together. So I'll go a little bit faster in the next few while so that I don't occupy too much time. It's very interesting. Like I had the slides for a long time, and then I realized, Gav wrote a post today or had an interview that talked about something similar. So Bitcoin is a ledger, and then Ethereum is a very similar technology with ledger plus, scripting ability, which is the EVM, which is just a virtual machine, which is actually basically a computer plus a ledger. So it's a very close technology to Bitcoin compared to Polkadot and the newer sort of architecture there. And then many of the short-term innovations, they are basically copies or copies of existing tech and make incremental improvements. That's faster, cheaper, and also help Ethereum to serve many of the users and developers that could not otherwise use the currently very expensive chain. I think all of these are very, very positive. It just shows that the industry is trying to innovate from different angles, right? This is more bottom up. You've already got the tech. you try not to change majority of it. You do a little tweaks, and then you kind of improve, right? So we got to a point where even some of these folks have come to a point they arrive at probably Polkadot architecture is the best. Namely, some of the change arrive at if it's multi-shard, each shard is different, and you have shared security. Well, sounds very familiar, right? This is exactly what Polkadot is doing. So either everyone's going to use Polkadot, or everyone's probably going to do something very similar to Polkadot. In any case, I think that's very, very inspiring and empowering for the entire industry. So we're kind of going through this innovation process that finally, from the mainframe computer of just one machine serve everyone into this cloud era, where technologies like Polkadot is more serving like the web, right? Really web, decentralized web, and able to scale and then to innovate on top of it. So I won't go into too much detail for this because everyone knows what's happening. So just like skip through that. So a couple of like visions that we have. So we believe the future for us is specialization trumps generalization as we move forward. In the past, mostly generalized blockchains, right? Everyone is doing everything or anything on the same chain. But today, I'm not sure how many of you use iPhone, how many of you actually tried Tesla's autonomous driving cars. They're all specialized companies doing specialized things, and they can do it really well because they own full stack. Full stack means if you want to build the best app, you need to own the hardware. That's iPhone. Even Tesla, they try to build a car, try to build apps, but they actually own the computer chips. Like they actually customize computer chips so that in the hardware level, so that it can actually do the calculation really fast, real life, to make the autonomous driving work. So for us, we believe if we want to build the best app experience, or even the app store experience, we need to own a blockchain. So that's why we make Acala, right? This is the specialization era. So I'll skip all of those and go right into it. So for Acala, we really believe the future is going to be sort of the hybrid way for us to deliver the experience. We create this new financial center, a truly decentralized stable coin, decentralized reserve bank as the engine to power everything on top of it. And ultimately, we may also connect back to the real world so that folks can actually use familiar technology to interact with Acala. And another stream could be metaverse, and also could be just individual users. So those are full spectrum of users that we look forward to actually serve. So let's go right into it. So this is the concept of the App Store for finance as what we are building. So we build the engine. So you can think about us as the iPhone engine, right? So we own the hardware. We can customize the hardware so that the UX can look so much better than if you use, say, Android, because Android is only a software company. It really rely on, say, Samsung to deliver the hardware level experience. So we are really the iPhone camp where we can customize the blockchain to make the experience really good. But of course, we are at very early stage of really delivering a lot of those. So for example, some built-in customization. So one thing is also mentioned by Gav today is the economic model, right? So if you're building smart contract, you are basically imprisoned by the EVM's economic policy. If you're asked to pay ETH as gas fee, there's no way you can change that at all. There's no way. But on the tester that we have for Acala, we recognize, that if you are going to settle transactions, not just for degens, right? I think us degens, like we use DeFi protocol every day. It's very kind of like used to paying this odd gas fee in a different token, which goes up and down in price 50% at a time. But for real life transactions, for example, Visa card settling their payments for tens of thousands of users, they would require a stable currency to pay for it, or any currency they prefer. This not just true for Visa card, but also for any of the real businesses when they run their business. They need predictability. So because the way that the Polkadot is structured, we are free to change the economic policy. So in our platform, transaction fees can be paid in any currency, so including stablecoin. So that's a very tiny, subtle innovation, but this shows how much more you can customize and be able to fine tune for your specific use case. For us, it's like finance. And then another thing that we focus on, if you say one thing about Acala, that is stablecoin, right? Yes, we're the DeFi hub, we're the liquidity hub, but all of those is to serve to actually kickstart this reserve bank that we are creating for Web3 for Polkadot. Without the reserve bank, everything else, you're building on shaky grounds, right? If you're building your DeFi on top of USDC or USDT, nothing against those, right? We're going to collaborate with them and they are going to power our liquidity as well. But I'm talking about really building the decentralized infrastructure is you need a decentralized reserve bank to actually power this lower level. Once you have those, right? Once you have the decentralized reserve bank, the commercial banks are easy. Those can be just smart contracts. Those are folks like Aave, Compound. They're really your commercial banks, right? They have retail customers, and then they kind of rely on the reserve bank to kind of leverage and then use the reserve of the ecosystem. For example, in where we are doing is like dot derivatives, Bitcoin, ETH, they are really the gold of the new era. And of course, in the dot ecosystem, the gold can actually give birth to smaller gold bars because dot has this yield built in to its token. And then that creates entirely new economy that very few people actually understand. If you understand, you will see Acala is doing this tiny little bit in the ecosystem. There's so much more, very like reachable innovations that you can do around the derivative and dot staking economy and create a lot of interesting products just out of those, right? So you can see this, like the pie is so big that we are only touching a little bit of that, and hopefully, you can get inspired and build something out of it after today. So the stuff that we're offering, obviously stablecoin as a base layer, but in order to kind of like support the community, there's also EVM Plus that are still under R&D. The palette has been finished, but the client-side experience is still being polished. Once that's done, it will be Ethereum compatible. But most importantly, it's an innovation that is going to use all the really cool stuff that we just built, right? So including the customizable economic policies like transaction fees, on-chain keepers. So you no longer need to run off-chain keepers to kind of worry about what if transaction couldn't get sent to on-chain and kind of like liquidate your positions and things like everything is on-chain. So a number of those are available within our EVM platform, as well as compatibility. So both Polkadot users as well as Ethereum users like MetaMask and Polkadot.js can both use the same virtual machine to build stuff on top of it that can certainly be compatible for the Ethereum smart contract experience, but most importantly, that can also leverage the cross-chain capability that Substrate provides and Polkadot provides. So yeah, so that's that. And then if you want a visual view, this is what it looks like. At the bottom is Polkadot, and then on top of it, we have built-in liquidity and the decentral bank powered by the Acala dollar. That's really where the juice is, because it leverages on dot and dot derivatives, and then it can actually build a lot more stuff on top of it. And then the top layer on top is the open protocol layer. This is initially we'll use Ethereum virtual machine, but then later on, there could be other virtual machines powered by WebAssembly, more advanced versions that we can actually just install and then be able to power the applications. And then, yeah, so the folks that we are serving, not just, so we're certainly going to serve DeFi users, individuals, but more so serve protocols, serve also institutions, fintech, basically folks who can deliver the experience back into individuals, right? My mom and dad, basically, everyday user. And that requires us to empower dApp developers, protocol developers to build on top of us, and having some shared vision. Like if you are ambitious, you want to go beyond just building another U farm, you actually want to build structured, unstructured products, or savings account, stable U product that are actually able to integrate back into fintech. And we are all here for those type of innovation and integration. So the stuff that we did with Current.com is basically Current is serving the innovate from a top down. So they are user experienced mobile app, neobanking infrastructure, and then we are at the background. We have liquid staking, so that's a stable yield generation engine, and we can directly kind of integrate with them. But that's only one sort of use case scenario. And use the Acala dollar, they can also do some leverage yield products for their clients as well. But those are very, very beginning of the integration. So you can imagine we're building the sandwich, right? So as more open protocol comes out, and then together we are able to compose those into end user products and then integrate them back to all of these partners, so that the goal is really to get everyday people to use and benefit from crypto without even knowing they are using crypto. Right? Yeah, a fancier picture. Yeah, so I've kind of mentioned those integrations, audits. Yeah, so we've already launched a DeFi hub. This is relatively degen version because it's more expert sort of UX on there. Still quite complicated, not quite serving the everyday people, but it serves as an example of how things would look like. But down the track, yeah, we'll continue to innovate when Acala launches. Yeah, so for builders, so I think I thought I'll bring some gift today, which is some ideas that you could build, I guess. So we're still very, very early stage for Karura and Acala, right? We barely just launched, only just bootstrapped the native liquidity on Karura. So 1% of KSM on there, $300 million TVL, and that's just like local economy native. We haven't even opened up our bridge, which will bring international trade. We haven't even opened up our EVM, so that will bring external sort of protocol developers. So very, very early stage. But even that, still there's a lot of business going on. So a few ideas, simple to get started with. So DeFi dashboards. For Acala launch in particular, that's going to be very interesting because we have this $1 billion worth of LC DOT, so liquid crowd on DOT, available. You can imagine this token is going to be redeemable to DOT 1-to-1 only in 96 weeks, not on day one, right? So there will be some folks needing some liquidity for this token. So there could be a discount, right? And it's going to make very interesting arbitrage and also yield generation opportunities. So you could compose the components that we have by using your DOT, and then you can basically generate a yield using LDOT, a tokenized version of it. So liquid DOT to have a yield bearing DOT, and then use that. You can leverage on your borrowing your stablecoin. The net APY for that is I'm predicting here. So 16% for staking yield, maybe 3% for interest rate. So that's 12 and 13% net APY for borrowing. So you're getting paid to borrow. And then out of those, you could do an arbitrage like trading for discounted LC DOT, because LC DOT is safe because it's going to be 100% redeemable for $1 in 2 years' time. Any discount you get is basically the yield, right? If you get 20% discount, that's 2-year yield, 10% a year. Well, of course, this is like very rough, right? So with all that process, you could eventually get from a raw form of DOT and all the way through to LC DOT, probably other combinations, and then you could get, I don't know, doubled or even tripled different type of yield, 35% to 50% or even more, just by going through this process, right? So certainly, as at Acala, we're not going to, build everything ourselves. So there are probably already folks in the community building maybe one pager, right? How to zap all of these transactions together, batch them together, and then give you a certain percentage of yield. And then what are the risks, right? So you have to look after your position. Maybe you just make it like 400% very safe to start with, and then have that for the users. So it's going to be a killer app, right? With one pager. This is all where Instant Deb has got started. So they basically is a front end, right? They don't even need to write a smart contract, deploy anything. They're front end, but they serve a particular user group that look for convenience and one-click experience. And this has a really, really interesting pathway, because sooner or later, if you are the user funnel, you have lots of users. And once we open up EVM, you then can deploy your smart contract, and then you aggregate those users through your smart contract, which is a value extraction layer. And you can do a lot more smarter strategy at that point, and then be able to serve those community members. So, well, so someone if take that idea, then that will be really cool. And then the second thing is arbitrage opportunities. There are already a number of liquidation events happen on Kusama. Folks actually managed to pick up 40% discounted KSM on there. So certainly, mostly because there's not so many people arbitraging at the time. There are still, because those are the people who took the 40% profit. But there could be more people probably benefit from running liquidation bots, market making bots, etc. And the third area that you can innovate is always think about Acala dollar, because that is the stuff that we're going to push. Everything we do, right? Liquid staking, LC DOT, everything we do is actually trying to bootstrap Acala dollar's liquidity from a supply side. And then there's also a demand side. Once there's commercial bank open up, right? Money markets, and also maybe leverage trading, payment integration, then it will drive the supply and demand of Acala dollar, and actually in circulation and usage in various different type of users. So that is also an area that we look for innovation and collaboration. And the last one is just a more specific idea of stable yield. So there's many ways that you can create stable products, especially on Polkadot, because you do have this relatively stable staking yield built into it. So you can certainly innovate around that. So yeah, so I'll probably just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to take and Sully stop at. I think we can take all evening and night to hear you further, Bette. That was great. But I think we won't be able to cover a lot of questions for you, though you have clarified quite a bit about Acala and what's on your mind ahead. So this is what we have from someone called Harsh. So what do you think would be the challenges that Acala or even Polkadot have to face while scaling in the future?
Yeah, so if you're building something completely different, it's always very hard because you not only have to convince people your tech, but you also have to be miles better to even be able to move some of the users, especially some of the developers across to support you.
Right.
So yeah, so I think Polkadot has done that in the last 3 years. That's why it took so long, right? To even bootstrap the initial ecosystem. For Acala, it will be slightly better, but it will still be the very challenging road ahead, because we are also building at a very low level using a very new tech stack. So, but we kind of chose that path. We don't like easy. So, yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. Next one we have is why Acala over the other stable coins, and how does Acala maintain its stability?
Yeah, so before you ask that question, then you have to ask why Polkadot over other ecosystem, right? So by nature, we are Web3. So by nature, we are Internet of blockchains. So by nature, we are not only decentralized, but actually decentralized and connected and multi-chain. So that goes to with this internet infrastructure, like blockchain internet infrastructure, the Acala stablecoin is the native stablecoin for the internet, powered by the native economy as well as crushing economy such as Bitcoin and others. And with that goes, then you always need a reserve bank to power everything, right? So once you go truly decentralized and Web3 in nature, and there's no brainer to see what things go from here, right? So yeah.
That's true. This one was by Manish Gadia. So Manish, I hope that answers your question. And if any of you further, we have a lot of questions for you, Bette, but it's a little too late in the night for you and we don't want to keep you waiting anymore. So we'll let you go. So have a great night ahead. And thank you for joining us despite it being about 3 a.m. now almost. So, and all the very best. For what lies ahead. Great times, though you are very humble to say it's nothing at all yet, and it's just the beginning. But a lot of love from all of us out here at Polkadot India and India as a whole itself. So thank you so much for being with us. Guys, a big shout out to her from all of us. So I'm sure all of you are with Polkadot India when we are wishing Bette all the luck and Acala all the luck from our end. Right. Thanks,
yeah, thank
Bette.
you so much. All the best
Yes,
to you guys.
thank you. And all the questions we have for you, we will direct to you at a later point, and we should be good. So all of you, if you have any further questions for Bette or any of our speakers ahead this evening, do tweet us and tag us along at #DotFriday, and we should be good. So now moving on to a very exclusive part of the evening again. So what we have ahead of us is a very prominent founder again. This is something called Bholdus. So for those of you who have not heard of it, so Bholdus is this fantastic company that is not only prominent in newer parts of Africa, and they are growing communities across Asia, Africa, Pakistan, and now they're out here to grab the Indian eye, and they already have quite caught the eye. So taking them forward with introducing them to you. So we have Bholdus, which is an inter-blockchain trading platform that helps popularize decentralized finance, and that's DeFi app and NFTs included. And who we have over here is none other than the founder of Bholdus himself. So give it up for Ronald Lay. Ronald, it's an absolute pleasure having you with us this evening, and they're all yours.
Good evening, sir, and everyone. It's my pleasure to be here today. And, I would love to introduce myself as a serial fintech entrepreneur, trying to build different open permissionless blockchains infrastructure for different businesses. And today I would like to do a quick overview of what we are building on. So basically, Bholdus is an open permissionless blockchain infrastructure. And the visions for us is to build a blockchain infrastructure where any businesses can seamlessly issue their NFT, seeking for fundings, and enjoy unlimited financial services in the DeFi to achieve their visions, and also serve as a hub for game finance, metaverse finance in the long run. The missions for the Bholdus is we aim to accelerate the mass adoption of digital assets by bridging the gap between the qualified assets such as online GameFi, music, movie, digital internet services, metaverse, and the crypto space. So, as Bholdus, we may very much focus on, the latest strength of technologies that trying to build solutions on Bholdus. The value propositions for Bholdus is we aim to build a great crypto-oriented communities across different countries, such as Southeast Asia and in the emerging countries, by working closely with different social media channels and also crypto influencers and worldwide strategic partners. The kinds of the important parts of this is interoperability, because due to this Polkadot-based ecosystem called Substrate. So we leverage on the interoperability of the network, launch and leverage on the multi-chain infrastructure. We aim to offer various types of blockchain solutions. So, we have many years of experience in fintech and blockchain space, and we're also sitting in the hub of financials disruptive center, which is the Southeast Asia. And what makes us different from the other is very much highly scalable, right? So, it's being used by lots of players in the market. I think Acala is one of our partner here in the top, and so utilizing them. And we want to focus a lot on the NFT empowerments, meaning that any businesses, they can actually tokenize their reward assets based on our blockchain, right? So they can actually use it for any kinds of financial services such as lending, staking, option tradings, and etc. Right? So with these and the value of the token is lying on the organic growth of the tokens, and also trying to focus a lot more on the helping different types of qualified projects to be joining our launchpad participations, and help different SMEs or the innovative businesses to join our ecosystem. So the DeFi is something that's really huge in the space, and I think technology is still very much early at this stage. So I'm sure there's boomings in terms of crypto economies out there, and there's where you can lend, borrow, you can earn interest, right? And lots of companies have started streaming their employee their wages in real time, and based on an open source technology that anyone can program with. So this is a seamless user experience that we're trying to create. And within the DeFi, the market is very much open, and there's no such kind of centralized authority who can block payments or deny you access to anything, right? So DeFi is collective terms for financial products and services that are accessible to anyone, who want to use Ethereum or Binance or Polkadot or even Bholdus. So anyone with the internet connections and the laptops or maybe smartphone, they can actually create an NFT or maybe issue the app based on our Bholdus blockchain. So I think you can see in the DeFi space, the traditional problems with the banks is that you can see take a lot of manual process to go through this, financial. The manual process is setting up the bank accounts, and lack of access to financial services, especially those emerging countries and those underdeveloped countries. They are more than like 50% of the users are unbanked, right? So financial services can actually block you from getting paid. And even there's a lot of data privacy has been stolen by those traditional finance, right? And you're not sure who utilize your data for what purposes. And the governments and also centralized institutions, they can actually close down the market at will due to XYZ reason, right? So and also I think one of the big problems in the traditional finance is that the money transfer sometimes takes days and it doesn't work in the weekend in a lot of countries. Right, and there's a lot of unnecessary middlemen when it goes through some kind of financial transactions in between. So that's very much the problem. So what can we do with DeFi, right? You can actually send money around the world, and you can stream the funds around the globe, access different types of stable currency, borrow funds with collaterals, and you can start with crypto savings and fund your ideas or many kinds of these insurance services or financial services within the DeFi space. So it's kind of like a new kind of alternative financial system that's crypto DeFi enjoy. And how does DeFi work, right? I think fundamentally DeFi use cryptocurrency and a smart contract to provide services that don't need the intermediaries, right? So in DeFi, the smart contract replaces the financial institutions in the transaction. So no one can alter the smart contract when it's live, right? So it will runs as programmed. Right? So the contract are very much public for anyone to inspect and audit, right? So in our system, we actually use static, and this means that contract we often come under the community scrutiny pretty quickly. So that is DeFi is very much transparent. Yeah, so I think that's very much I like to share, right? So happy to share. I'm happy to have some questions, or and I love to learn from each other. Thank you.
Great, Ronald. Thank you so much for that. So we do have a couple of questions. So first one being, why is Bholdus called the DeFi for real world? How is it different?
But the difference is, we aim to help those qualified SMEs, especially in the emerging countries, to accelerate their business by, helping them in terms of fundings, in terms of go-to-market strategies. Doing some customer acquisitions, right? Helping them with these, building out the sustainable business model, or maintain a competitive advantage with different partners around the world, right? So, for SME, traditionally they only focus on one market. But for these SME in the crypto world is a lot larger base, right? It's a lot larger base in terms of in terms of market size, in terms of value that they are providing is actually on the global basis, right? So the difference is, we try to help those SMEs who don't have access to financial industry, especially lendings or borrowing the funds or or leveraging on the crypto space to get access to the crypto adoptions or maybe new customers and all this. So by leveraging the technologies, the worlds become more borderless and the fundings become a lot easier to attract different funding. So SMEs in majority of the emerging countries actually play a very significant role in the society. That's the reason why we aim to help those qualified SME, especially those innovative businesses, such as like GameFi, studio owners, or some kind of theme park or digital services, content, music. Those are very digital based, right? So those very much our focus as of now. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
On that note, so what options does Bholdus provide SMEs to keep as collateral?
Can you elaborate your question?
Like when you do approach SMEs, right? So do you take in any collaterals or expect any promise from their end?
Yeah, basically we have different roadmap, right? So in beginnings, we try to aim those businesses who have a good track records, who already have own digital assets, right? So step by step, if they have a good track records and a good credit score, along the way when we built, then we start giving out more, more interest or more collateral or more kinds of attractive loans to them. So in the beginnings, if we don't have a good data, we not give out the loan right away. But we more on like focusing on those SME who very adaptive with cryptocurrency and who already have certain digital assets in their business. And then slowly, once they build a good track record with us, then we start attack along with the physical assets, which is their and it depends on jurisdiction. There's regulations involved, so there's not much country. There's not many countries that we can start right away. So we start. This is the long-term visions and missions. So it takes some time to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Well, a question is Bholdus focusing only on the Southeast Asia region? While I know that's not the answer, would you like to say something about that, Ronald?
Yeah, India is a very big market, and we love to penetrate into, and we love to look for partners and good friends like you folk to help us with the promoting the Bholdus BSO, to help with the customer acquisitions or market expansions. So we're very much open as long as we have the right partners, the right country manager to work with. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how does a black hole determine the voting rights of BHO token holders, and on what metrics?
I don't get it. So black hole token is basically stable coins. So we have a BSO token is basically the name representing Bholdus. So it's a native coin, but it's also run on different chains. Right now it's running on Binance Smart Chain, but we also we're going to have our own native blockchain. We call it BSO, and it's going to run on our own native tokens, right? It's going to be a native token, so that means it's going to be very much multi-chain infrastructure that we built. And Bholdus BSO is one of these considerate token that we are. The BSO is the core technology, is our own native coins. But beside that, we're gonna build tokens based on different chains such as Solana, Cardano, Ethereum, and etc. For us to leverage the ecosystem of everyone. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And we have one last question, Ronald. So how does Bholdus plan on exploring the GameFi space?
Right, so you can see we GameFi is something really hot in the regions, and we aim to help them with these fundraise by connecting them with the right institutions or partners that can help them to to expedite their business, and also we can help them with these fundings, and also help them to nurture their business. So GameFi is something really hot, like play to earn game models, right? So any kind of game they can actually come to us. And if they want to tokenize their business, they can actually utilize our blockchain to issue the NFT or to issue the NFT tokens based on our blockchain. So via our system, there is an SDK and an API where we can actually easily integrate with different games to issue tokens. Right, so the value that come to us is because of these the fast-growing ecosystem worldwide, and also the interoperability of the network. And we also have the labs where we're going to organize different types of GameFi Metaverse Finance Lab, where we can actually incubate them or advise them or nurture them or accelerate the business with them. Yeah.
Right. Great. I think Amit has a few things that he would like to interact you with about, that he has a few queries on. So Amit, over to you.
Sure, and thank you so much, Ronald. It's been like a super crisp presentation, and you shared so much in the short time over there. I thought I'd leverage this opportunity to discuss a few things about the journey, and then also probably take on a few tactical aspects of working alongside Bholdus. From an SME perspective, from maybe somebody building a gaming startup, etc. So may I have like a series of fireside chat-ish conversations with you?
Sure. Yes, definitely.
So one of our motivations at Polkadot India is to help generate inspiration amongst the aspiring entrepreneurs and to start up. And I would love if you could highlight your starting journey. Perhaps how you got into crypto and the evolution with the different ventures that you did till you founded Bholdus, and the motivation behind starting Bholdus.
Right, definitely. So I'm a big fan of decentralized worlds where we can help build different financial inclusions businesses, especially to help businesses to achieve financial inclusion, and also help businesses to grow their business to the next level. And I believe that is a yin and yang. I mean, I believe that is because the fintech space for many years, and there are many emerging markets going on, right? And there's a lot of opportunities, especially in the emerging countries, where they treat cryptocurrency as a kind of a new types of new types of alternative assets for their investment opportunity. So we're here to grow the business together, and we are here to make this. And a lot of them are facing a problem in terms of how am I going to build a successful career. And with the Bholdus blockchain, we hope that we can help different entrepreneurs, and we can help different businesses to achieve their dream by leveraging on our fast-growing ecosystem to solve certain problems. It may be in banking, it may be in fintech, it can be in agriculture, it can be any kind of industry. As long as, or maybe in GameFi, Metaverse Finance, it's going to work across different industry. Right. So for us as a platform, we're here to help them, and we're here to work together closely, right? So we are a platform. So as easy as it is, right? So anyone in the emerging country who need help, because starting out the business is very tough, so they need help in terms of a lot of different segments. It can be funding, it can be customers, it can be solutions. So it depends on different businesses, and I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I know that it's very tough to start something. And I believe that it's an ecosystem where we are trying to build. It's kind of like an aggregator where we can have to partner up with everyone, right? To make us, to make a series of successful entrepreneurs worldwide. Yeah.
Wonderful. And in your own entrepreneurial journey with Bholdus, it might not have been, as great as it is today all throughout. There would have been certain highs, certain lows. So what were the, two lowest lows that you experienced and the two highest highs that you experienced in the Bholdus journey?
Right. Doing the business, managing fast-growing ecosystems and a fast-growing internal organization is never easy, there's a lot of challenges, and there's a diverse culture, there's a diverse perspective, and it's never easy. Yeah, to be honest, it's never easy, and it's just us. We try to do our best, right? We're passionate about business, and we love to do what we do, right? So end of the day is about enjoy doing what you do and trying to enjoying the problem solving, right? It's not easy, and hopefully any entrepreneurs, they've been through a lot of hardships and things like that. So to be honest, we need to make good friends with people, ask people to help out, and it's a long term. So the bad experience, every day you meet tons of people from different background, right, and have different perspective in what you do. Some people like you, some people don't, for sure, right? So end of the day, we just need to be sit back, relax, and try to think on the win-win and sustainable work with everyone, right? So just continue that way, and I hope that with what we're trying to build and with the passion that we're putting, we hope that things are getting better every day, right? Business is moving. Lots of emerging countries is fast growing in terms of cryptocurrency adoption and the blockchain solution. So we hope to be one of the leading players in the market. Yeah.
Awesome. And technically, while building the platform, perhaps what was the biggest challenge that you faced?
I think there's always challenge in terms of sourcing for good engineers and growing the market, and I know that's a lot of work going on right now, and people are working hard, right? Lots of engineers are working super hard, right? So everyone is working hard, and even me myself working day and night, and it's still not an easy one, right? So everyone's working hard on every initiative, right? So hopefully we can work as a team and growing up as a team, right? And just see how and what's next, yeah. So
I'm just going to extract some stories or anecdotes from you, because that just allows us to paint a picture of how life looked like at some of those moments. So any stories or examples that you can cite from the past of how this journey was, this entrepreneurial journey of Bholdus itself. And after this, I'm going to come to some questions that are around collaboration, but just trying to get a sense, like any anecdotes or examples that you have.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of work going on, and there's a lot of a challenge, right? Sometimes like you are the only one go against the rest of the world, for example. Sure. The idea is maybe you're crazy about certain thing, and you may not get support from people. Mm-hmm. Right? That's a very common thing, and just sometimes we have to live with it and try to like compromise and make it a win-win. For me, is I always think that we should think of a win-win solution that make it sustainable for everyone and everything else, right? So sometimes people trust you, sometimes people don't, right? So it's just a matter of trust and a matter of sympathy, and a mutual understandings of different things together in the same picture, whether people are moving on the same picture with you, right? And running an organization is always a challenge, right? So for me, it's just all about trying to do my best, and if I have done my best, but it doesn't work, or it's work. If it's work, then it's awesome. If it doesn't work, then we need to think on why and how we can be better, right? So yeah, it's a part of the journey. So it's every day is different day, every day is a new day, and a lot of challenge. But one thing I always keep in mind is we need to keep doing it, and making sure that everyone is happy, and it's a win-win. For me, it's always have to think on win-win thing. Yeah.
Wonderful. So even going and integrating with SMEs, it's a very complex problem to solve. There are regulations, there are compliances. You need you need data to be able to do credit rating and decide where to, how it works, how it doesn't. And the scale at which you guys are growing is like pretty mind-boggling. Like you're launching new countries and onboarding a lot. So how are you guys managing the compliance aspect of it, or the data provisioning aspect of it? I would just love to understand. Is it that you have a very big team that manages it, or we are in the experimentation stage with some of these countries, because every country will have their different oracles or centralized systems via which you source data. They will have their own regulatory compliance mechanisms. Kind of sounds mind-boggling to me.
Right. I mean, we are the technology company, so we need to work closely with different institutions or businesses, right? So basically, we are the platform, right? Sure. We are not we are an infrastructure, and anyone can actually build solution on us, right? So we are not a financial institutions. We are more towards like a multi-chain infrastructure where anyone can leverage on to build solution. Yeah. So unless we don't keep private key of the users and the funds running around within the ecosystem, right? And the more solutions we help, we more like a technology solutions service provider, right? So they can actually utilize us to solve any kind of problem in the world. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. We're basically going to be looking at fintech partners in each of these countries and geographies to come up to bring that expertise and leverage your platform and build these solutions on top of it. So and that's your approach, and that definitely serves as clarity for some of the entrepreneurs who might be over here today. What would be your advice to somebody who's just starting their career in crypto? Now they may be entrepreneurial, they might just want to work in a company. How should they go about deciding what to focus on during the early stages of working with crypto?
Right. I think it's always tough to start a business, right? And maintaining it, creating and growing it is another tough journey. So it's all about growing the ecosystem where we can actually build more friendships and build more win-win sustainable partnership with everyone to ensure that it's growing and find the right partners to work together. Right? It's always challenging, right? And nothing is easy, right? So as an entrepreneur, we need to be we need to have the guts to do things, and we need to grow to a certain level, and we need to keep learning and stay around with the like-minded people and also diverse people where you can learn and grow. Yeah. So it's about learning, find the right partners, find the right teams, work together, and hopefully everyone is on the same page, right? And move forward together. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. And as people get to know you better and working along with Beholdus, what personally inspires me about Beholdus and about you as a founder is, your emphasis on speed of decision making, moving things. And I'm pretty sure that culture kind of rubs into the entire organization. And, as a startup, it is so very important to move with velocity. And that is like my personal learning that I've had engaging with you and interacting with you as well.
Answer them privately. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Ronald. It's been an absolute pleasure hosting you with us, and hopefully we shall be doing some very meaningful work in the future as well. From Polkadot India's side and on behalf of our community, our team, we wish you the very best in your journey with Beholdus, and we shall definitely keep in touch. Any questions that come our way, we're gonna share them with you subsequently, and would love if you could just spare some time checking them out.
Sure. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ronald.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So for all of you out here, thank you so much for joining in. If we do have a lot of queries left unanswered, which we will be taking care of with the speakers one-on-one, and we will be getting back to you with the responses. On other notes, do join into our community. We have a lot of exciting events coming up, starting with Substrate Saturday. That's coming on the 4th of December. We are very excited because it's a great curriculum. It's a very exciting and very ambitious plan ahead for all of you out there. So anyone who is really keen on making it big and starting right from scratch and from the core tactics of Substrate and Rust, I think Substrate Saturday is right for you. So join us on our WhatsApp channel, and you will be able to get the live updates and all the curriculum-based insights. So join us on not just WhatsApp, but you even have a Discord and Telegram that you can join us in. So thank you so much. We have a lot more events, like I said, coming up. apart from Substrate Saturday, upcoming Fridays, we'll have a lot more influential leaders, just like Ronald and Bette and Sainath. And I'm sure that we will all learn a lot from them. So until next time, have a great evening.